start thinking, well, I'm going to go pick up this used cooking oil, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put it into my vehicle. You can't do that. If you do, and the EPA finds out, it's $32,500 per day per incident fine, and you could go to jail. It must go through a trans-esterification process, which means you basically have to add some type of catalyst. In most cases, historically, it's been methanol, which removes the glycerin from the product, and then it can be used in a heating system or for diesel fuel. So it's very important to know that. So historically, it's come from vegetable oil, animal fats, and yellow grease. In the future, biodiesel and bioheat will come from a full array of other types of waste streams. It'll come from consistently from used cooking oil here in New York and trap grease. It'll come from our sewage treatment plants. It will come from cellulosic process, paper, wood, many of our construction waste streams, wood chips, grasses to produce bio. And in many cases, it will be a sustainable type of process here in New York, whereby not only using New York City waste streams, but also throughout the state. Very important that, I'm going to skip a couple of slides and then come back to it. But just like other products, petroleum products and lubricants and chemicals and cement and other products that you use, biodiesel must go through a American Society of Testing Materials, ASTM. And biodiesel has its own ASTM standard called ASTM 6751. In order to blend that pure, we call it B100 product, with diesel fuel and heating oil, it must meet the 6751 standard. Even more important that you need to be aware about in any user of diesel fuel is that ASTM passed years ago. I was one of 3 people in the United States against this, but they passed regulations whereby a supplier, like Sprague, can blend up to 5% biodiesel in diesel fuel and heating oil without telling the end user. So why I said earlier that you might be using biodiesel or bioheat today and not know it is because many suppliers are blending today, using it as an extender in their product, more importantly, for 2 reasons. One, the cost of bioheat and biodiesel today and pure biodiesel is less than heating oil and diesel fuel, so they're either blending to increase their margin, or they're blending, as we are, to reduce the price of the product today to make it more competitive and easier to swallow the higher cost of fuels because of the higher price of fuels. So when you talk about engine manufacturers, like for on-road, they warranty up to B20, in some cases B35. It's very important to know whether the product that you're currently buying has biodiesel in it already. Because when we blend for a B20 or even a B5, and the manufacturer says, okay, I'm going to warrant you to B5, if we don't know what's already in that product, we put in another 5%, that's a B10 or a B8 or a B9, and you have an issue. 99.9% of the time, that engine manufacturer will blame the supplier or for you not using a product that's compatible under their warranty. So it's very important. When we talk about on the heating side, the production side for bioheat, the manufacturers, up until about a year ago, said, okay, we'll let you blend up to a B5. Well, now that everybody's blending up to a B5, they have no choice anyway, because they all say that you have to meet ASTM D396, which is your heating oil spec, or 975 for your diesel spec. But there's many commercial boilers that are coming on the market that will be able to burn a B100, pure B50 and B100 as well. So be on the lookout for that. And the great news about that, not only will you use less fuel. But with the cost of biodiesel the way it is today, you're more likely that that price could be less too. So it's very important to acknowledge that. We have 2 minutes. So what can I tell you in 2 minutes? Well, when you buy from someone, you don't want to buy from someone that has a little operation like this to produce biodiesel, especially if you're spending $20,000 or if a big bus, New York City Transit Authority, spending $800,000 on buses. You want to buy from a reputable biodiesel supplier that under the National Biodiesel Board has what's called the BQ 9000. It's like an ISO certification. Sprague was the first one in the country years ago to be approved. And what this means is that the supplier must go through a quality control program, meet all ASTM specifications for their product, to be able to, from the time they buy to the time they deliver to you, to ensure product quality rather than maybe buying from someone off the street or picking up used cooking oil, not going through the trans-specification process, and so on. So if there's anything that you get from me tonight, is that if you're going to buy biodiesel or bioheat, you want to buy it from a BQ 9000 producer, which there are several in New York City. The other thing is if you buy biodiesel from a non-reputable supplier, that lower right-hand corner picture could be you when your heating system doesn't work. So it's another reason why you want to buy from a good supplier. A good supplier also has rack and storage of B100, where your rack injection blending at the terminal to get a homogeneous blend, which is very important as well. Many suppliers that are out there today don't. They'll just get the product, they'll throw it into a tank, into a truck, and just hope that the truck will blend the product itself. We don't want that, especially in the wintertime. So today, biodiesel and bioheat are less dollars than what you're paying for conventional heating oil today, or 4 or 6 oil. And what I want you to keep your eyes on for in the next 3 months, there's going to be some consumer focus groups on bioheat and biodiesel. You're going to see commercials on TV. If you watch the Sunday morning newscasts on CBS, NBC, Fox, and CNN, you might have already seen a biodiesel commercial. You're going to start to see it on local channels. You will see it if you travel on the Long Island Railroad or Metro North or the transit system, as with buses and subways, as well as start to hear it on the radio. In that the National Biodiesel Board wants to make more people aware of what's available and what they can do now in order to reduce their emissions and be more renewable. So in the end, it is domestic, it is available today, it does reduce the emissions, it is sustainable, and I thank you for your time.